What's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. First place in the NFC West. Second place in the NFC. Rams beat Tom Brady, the good-looking baby, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 27-24. Welcome to Rams Talk. Yes, I know a lot of you may be tuning in for the first time. Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe. This is a great place for Rams content. I am pumped up. Everyone else, if you've watched this, if you subscribed before, if you're used to this, thank you for tuning in. I'm here for you. I am here for you, representing Rams Nation here on YouTube, and I am in a great mood, as are all of you. Now, a lot of people, a lot of pundits thought that we couldn't do it, that we weren't going to win, right? But you knew it. I believed. Jeremiah, Valor, Adrian, you guys believed. You guys knew it. And I feel like, waking up today and looking on YouTube and seeing the videos, and it's once again Tom Brady. It's all about Tom Brady. Never mind that we did this to Russell Wilson. We did it to Tom Brady. What do you have to do to get any respect? There's a few people giving the Rams props, but you guys know the deal. I know the deal, right? So, that game was awesome. That was prime time. That's an East Coast playing against the GOAT. Gosh, how many times do we have to hear GOAT this, GOAT that? He played like a damn GOAT, like a real GOAT. Terrible. Tom Brady looked terrible. And it wasn't just because he's terrible, because he's not terrible, but the Rams made him look terrible. Cause and effect, people. Anyways, I said that the keys of this game were going to be turnovers, and basically it seemed like almost every turnover the other team scored points off of those turnovers, and Tampa Bay had one extra turnover than the Rams, one more, and that was the difference right there. Turnovers were going to be a huge key to this game because the defenses were solid, the offenses were high-powered, so whoever makes the most mistakes was going to lose. The other thing I said about this game is, how is Joe Noteboom going to fare? And, I'll get into that, but Joe Noteboom did exceptional. The other thing was asserting. Which team was going to assert, right? And the Rams came out, and if you look at the metrics of this game, the Rams were in control of this game the most, pretty much the whole way, more time of possession, more yards, and the attitude on the field. They were flying around, and they were hitting hard, and it seems like they were executing their game plan and imposing their will on Tampa Bay. Now, a couple things I want to mention just before I get into all this stuff is the Rams, whatever you think of the new uniforms, and I think we can all agree that SoFi is an amazing facility, amazing stadium, but the Rams are all about looking forward. They're all about trailblazing. They're all about getting ahead of everything, right? And they've always been that way. It might not seem like that when they were in St. Louis, but especially the Los Angeles times, they've always been thinking ahead. 1946, first African-American player in football, Kenny Washington. That was the Rams. Went to UCLA, kind of like Jackie Robinson, okay? Michael Sam, when was that, 2016, 2017, something like that? Michael Sam, first gay player drafted by an NFL team, and that was the Rams, okay? And the first all-African-American officiating crew, Rams game. So, this isn't a political thing, but this is, if you're a Rams fan, this is your team. This is your organization. This is what it believes in. These kind of things. And that's cool. That is super cool, because it's not just about, being trailblazing with race in the NFL, with sexuality in the NFL, but also with your uniforms, with your stadium. It's everything. And that's what we have. We don't have we're not driving a horse and buggy in a Tesla world. Okay, we're the Tesla. So anyways, I just want to say that, and that was pretty cool. Especially when they did that little piece in there. So moving on to the game, Sean McVay said after the game, he said, and I quote, The balance of urgency and enjoyment. I think these guys are really finding it right now. I love this group. I love this team. And you look at the field and what he just said, that you can see how he feels this. You see how the team is playing together. Like they're connected. And they kept talking about this between Tampa Bay and the Rams about, you can't just, the team has a bunch of core vets, right? Or a bunch of this, a bunch of that. And, you got to actually connect and you got to play together. You have to communicate. And the Rams have that. And it's evident week in and week out, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And that's a great feeling. I had this vibe in 2018, especially with the shooting in Thousand Oaks and the fires and the Monday night game and Mexico City and not Mexico City and just everything going on. I felt like that was a very special unit. Last year was different, but this year it seems like that's back. And that's at the top down. Talk about organizations. The Rams are an organization that are doing it right. From Kroenke down to McVay to Demoff to the Snead to everything. There's complete buy-in on that roster. And they have so many stars. And they're all committed. And it's just an amazing thing to see. And it's an amazing thing to feel as a fan. Like you just have this feeling. Is that a Justin Timberlake song? Anyways, so that I just wanted to mention that. But this was a Goff game. Aside from the defense, but this is a total Goff game. And aside from a complete brain fart he had in the second half, it was a tale of two Goffs, right? The first half Goff and the second half Goff. In the first half he was lights out. In the second half there was a series where he fumbled the snap. The next play was a delay of game, and then the next play after that was an interception to the safety. It's kind of like he just went outside of his body and went somewhere else, and it just was this shell going through motions. He was not there, kind of like the Miami game, and those 3 consecutive plays. But aside from that, he wasn't terribly efficient in the second half, but he made throws on that final drive to kick the field goal. But in the first half, he was lights out. And you know what he's done in the last 2 weeks? He has handled the blitz. He has handled the pressure. In the last 2 weeks combined, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, right? I'll take that. 2 wins against 2 top teams in the NFC. He was 39 for 51, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And there was a graphic during the game saying that he is second since 2017 among all quarterbacks with wins at 39. Second. And no one talks about him. No one. Doesn't get any props. And we were killing him 2 weeks ago because that was a pretty terrible performance. But I think it's, things have to be going right, but you look at what he learned. So at one point in the game versus the blitz, he was 11 for 11 for 152 yards and a touchdown. Right? 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks before the bye, he was getting killed. He was getting killed with the blitz. And granted, that was a pretty unique blitz. They weren't selling out in this game, but still sending more than 4 rushers. And he ate it up. He knew what to do. He was diagnosing it. He was calling audibles. He was checking out of things. He was there. He was there. With the exception of that brain fart in the second half, he was there. Right? And he was crisp. And it was yak. It was great. This was a Goff game, whereas last year against the Bucs, he was 45 for 68 passing for 3 interceptions and a fumble. So, or was it 2 fumbles? I can't remember. But he was terrible last year. But that first touchdown to Robert Woods, he's in the pocket. The pocket breaks down. He rolls out of it as the pressure comes. He rolls out of it, buys some time, and Woods is wide open. Patience. He was patient. He wasn't getting all the happy feet. He was stepping into throws. He looked really good. Like usually in every game, I'm like, there were a handful of throws that he just completely missed. There was this deep pass that he missed to, who was it to? Was it Cup? But he could have hit the crosser in an intermediate route, but he didn't see that. Whatever, right? You compare him to Tom Brady in this game. Tom Brady, the baby, who can't shake hands. He only shakes hands when he wins. And then, like, this is just like, I know I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's so rich. This guy has beat the Rams twice in the Super Bowl, and he's just, soaking it all in, and he loses to us in the regular season and just has to walk off the field. They say character is who you are when no one's looking. Well, what about who you are when everyone's looking? And this is the second time. He didn't shake Nick Foles' hand. So, just sportsmanship, bro. Like, Jared Goff would have shook his hand if the Rams had lost. Tom Brady would have been out there, shaking hands if they won. But, the GOAT had 216 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Should have had 3 interceptions. There was that John Johnson hand-neck drop on the deep ball. But, Tom Brady did not look great. Granted, Leonard Fournette dropped 2 or 3 passes. They did have some drops, but he had some just terrible throws. And you know what? Only Tom Brady gets that non-fumble call. Now, I know, like, that's most likely was the right call, but, like, of course it's going to go in his favor. The rule was changed because of him, and then it's different when then the double pass. Like, is that even really allowed? The double pass, right? Like, what the double pass should be? The double pass should be a forfeit of down and a penalty. So the Rams shouldn't have had to choose between 4th and 2 or 3rd and whatever. It should have been 4th and plus penalty. That's what it should have been. It should have been a loss of down and a penalty. But of course, it's Tom Brady, right? Just total Tom Brady. The officials were not completely sharp in this game. There was at least 1 pass interference that was not against Jalen Ramsey. The Rams were flagged for, I think I wrote it down, I don't know if I did, but like 5 penalties for 60-some yards. So there was a PI or 2 that was legit, but for the most part, I think they got some calls. But moving back over to the Rams, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp 11 for 145, 13 targets. Robert Woods 12 for 130 and 15 targets. You know what I love about these guys is that they're tough, and they're not these wide receivers that just fall down after they catch it or just try and get out of bounds. They look for contact. They look to make plays. They're explosive. Yet nothing. These are highly paid wide receivers. They do everything. They block. They run great routes, yards after the catch, great locker room presence, right? But they're not flashy. They're not flashy like Antonio Brown or Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Let's play the who did you pick first in fantasy? Chris Godwin and Michael Evans or Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods? Unless you're in a PPR league, probably Godwin and Evans, right? But you take Woods and Kupp together, they combine for 275 yards, and then the 3 Corvettes for Tampa Bay combine for 119. Our 2 receivers who don't get anywhere near the level of shine that Tampa Bay's 3 receivers get, doubled them up. Yeah, I go back to the Robert Woods play against Seattle when he planted Trey Flowers. That's what they do. And I'm going to say this right here. End of the first half, Robert Woods gets that screen out on the right side, takes it, 30-some to 40 yards. They go down and spike it. Matt Gay hits field goal. That's Robert Woods making that play happen right there. So, this is just what it is. Goff gets no love. Our receivers get no love. Our defense is finally getting some love. It's for the birds. You guys know what's up. Speaking of Matt Gay, though, if you're a Tampa Bay Bucs fan and you're watching this game and you see Matt Gay kick the game-winning field goal, how does that make... granted, Ryan Suckup is good. They're not, in a bad place with kicker. But still, they drafted him. He was a 5th-round pick. And he kicks the game-winning field goal. It's like a Greg Zuerlein kicked the game-winning field goal for Dallas against the Rams. So, I mean, that's just insane. I mean, yes, he missed a kick, but it was like this. Like, it wasn't a shank. See, that's the thing. Kickers are going to miss kicks. But it's how do you miss the kick? Do you even get it over the line? Do you completely shank it? Like Mariah Carey throwing the first pitch, or 50 Cent throwing the first pitch. That's what Kai Forbath and Sam Sloman did. And by the way, the Titans just signed Sam Sloman. They don't know. But Matt Gay comes in against his old team. I mean, he kicked in that stadium a lot before. He comes in, been with the team officially after all the COVID testing for 3 days maybe. That's the third day. Comes in and nails 2 field goals and 3 extra points, right? I mean, Matt Gay is our kicker now. How crazy is that? Like, who was thinking Matt Gay 1 week ago, or maybe like a week and a half ago? No one. And now he's our guy. And he'd probably mess up in a crucial moment, but let's enjoy the Matt Gay. Let's just be gay about it. Let's just be happy. This is, we have a kicker who's competent. Hallelujah. But that play was crucial at the end of the second half. The Woods and Gay combo. So before I get to the defense, I want to talk about, this kind of is pundit related, but I want to talk about how no one thought the Rams would be any good this year coming into the season. I mean, like I said, you knew, and I knew, and Jeremiah and Valor and Adrian knew, but people outside the Rams, like Nick Wrong and a lot of these pundits, they didn't give us a chance. And you know why? Because we lost Nickel Roby-Coleman, and we lost Corey Littleton, and we lost Dante Fowler, and we lost Eric Weddle and Clay Matthews and Wade Phillips, and we lost Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks. We lost a lot of established players, names, that people who, that talking heads who cover a little bit of everything, but not a lot of one thing. These are people that they know. So when you see Josh Reynolds and Van Jefferson and Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown and Micah Kaiser and Terrell Lewis and Obo Orowonkwo and Joseph Noteboom and David Edwards and Austin Corbett and Darius Williams and Troy Hill and Jordan Fuller and Taylor Rapp, and really, if you don't know these names, you think the Rams suck because they don't have those other names. But you know what the Rams have done? They drafted very well, except for kicker. But I mean, case in point, in this game, Van Jefferson, their top 2 picks, Jefferson and Akers scored touchdown. Their second round pick gets 2 interceptions, right? I mean, like that's how successful organizations are. They draft very well, and they draft well, they coach players up, and then those players can leave in free agency, and they just draft well and coach them up, and you get the compensatory picks, and it just keeps flowing. And it just keeps flowing. And that's what the Rams are. I mean, how many people were talking about Micah Kaiser, Joe Noteboom, Edwards, Sebastian Joseph Day, Hill, D. Will? Like, none of these guys were on the radar. But we knew. And that's why they're doing well. It's not just name value. Eric Weddle's a name, but my God, last year he was not good. He was not good. Jordan Fuller, in like 3 games this year, surpassed what the impact Weddle had all of last year, except for his locker room presence and not eating sweets during the week. But anyways, speaking of one of those guys, Joseph Noteboom. I'm trying to find it here. I had it written down, but he had, here we go. He had an 84.7 pass blocking grade for the Rams yesterday. And aside from Whitworth, in the last 2 games, he's had the highest pass blocking grade on the offensive line. And the offensive line didn't give up a sack. He allowed only 1 pressure. This is talking about coming in and taking the place of a Hall of Famer, a legend, a top 3 tackle in all of football. Here comes Joe Noteboom playing tackle for the second game. Like, he played half last week, a full game now against Jason Pierre-Paul, who had the interception, but held his own. He played very well. Now, the run blocking for the offensive line wasn't great, but also they're a very stout run defense team. So, I mean, the offensive line did great. They kept Goff clean. I noticed Tom Brady had grass on the back of his jersey. Jared Goff didn't. I mean, Jared Goff, I think, fell down. He was hit a couple times. But, tip of the cap to the Rams. I think Austin Corbett was the highest rated offensive player. So you have one guard on the right side. You got Noteboom on the left side. Who was Corbett going up against? Ndamukong Suh probably, So, I mean, Shaq Barrett. Did you hear anything about Shaq Barrett in this game? He had a nice play coming in. I think a ball was deflected, or a running back. I can't remember what it was, but Barrett came in and disrupted something. But other than that, the Jason Pierre-Paul, in terms of pressuring the quarterback, Shaquille Barrett in terms of pressuring the quarterback, Sue, not so much. The offensive line, this was the big question mark coming into this season. The offensive line, how are they going to play? And they've been stepping up, especially without Whitworth. So this gives me hope. If we can play well against that defensive front with our replacement / future left tackle, then I think we don't have to freak out as much. So that's just awesome stuff. Now let's switch it over to defense. The Rams allowed 251 yards of total offense, right? But let's just talk about Tom Brady. Let's not talk about 251 yards. That's running game, passing game. Rams locked it down. Rams locked it down. I think the Rams had 413 total yards of offense, So 160 yards more of total offense the Rams had. So I don't want to hear it. We shut down their running game. What running game? They have 2 running backs, nothing. And one of the guys, so before we get to the secondary, but one of the guys, unsung hero, Michael Brockers. Now, he brought it in this game. And a lot of guys brought it, but on the defensive line, Michael Brockers was everywhere. And it just goes to show, last year, I think everyone just assumed Michael Brockers was moving on. We were kind of resigned to it. And, he signed that offer sheet. What was the Ravens? I can't remember the Ravens. And then failed the physical or came back, whatever, didn't work out, comes back to the Rams. We thought, oh, wow, we just signed A'Shawn Robinson and now we have Michael Brockers, and isn't that kind of weird, and do we need them both? And I mean, how awesome is it that Michael Brockers is I feel like one of his better seasons in recent memory, and he's not just performing very well, but he's kind of the heart and soul of the defense, especially the defensive line. So Michael Brockers, this is an appreciation video for you. Thank you, and keep it up. Michael Brockers was playing out of his mind. Troy Hill played really well. I want to say he led the team in tackles. Troy Hill was everywhere. He was rushing in off the edge. He was playing great in coverage, although he was guarding Mike Evans when Mike Evans muscled that pass into the end zone. And Ramsey was motioned off of Mike Evans, and you could see Ramsey afterwards was upset with that. That didn't happen again. D. Will in the second half, Darius Williams, he had 2 plays against Antonio Brown, 2 in a row, where one he knocked the ball out on a short pass, another one he was step for step, where he just reached over and he didn't knock it, but I think he affected it, and it was a deep pass, and AB didn't get to it. So, the entire defense was lights out. Jordan Fuller, John Johnson, except for that missed catch down the right sideline. But the defensive line was bringing pressure. Fox and Justin Hollins. What did I say about Justin Hollins? I wrote something down. He provided pressure on Tom Brady when Brady threw that interception. That was Justin Hollins. And he matches up against Gronk in one of the plays where Gronk went out the left side and there was an incompletion. And Justin Hollins is, you think about it, like he started as a defensive end, kind of moved to an outside linebacker where, he's doing more coverage, and his body type matches with Gronk and Brate. So kind of a sneaky little weapon there with Justin Hollins. But, and I know, that's it really for the defense. And, just kudos to all the rookies making plays and catching touchdowns and interceptions. That's just great. The Rams' future looks very bright with these guys. So So yeah, I'm just really excited. The Rams are in the driver's seat, I feel, in terms of the NFC West. Like, to be honest, if the Rams, they're not going to, I don't think they will, but if they win out, they win the NFC West. Very well, this season could come down to Rams versus Seahawks in Seattle, second to last week of the season. So they travel back home, and they get San Francisco. Big rivalry. I'm expecting them to win that game due to all the injuries with San Francisco. Then they play Arizona at Arizona. Then they come home and play New England. Then at home against the Jets. And then on the road against Seattle. And then at home against Arizona. So essentially, their longest road game of the year is in Seattle. They basically play Seattle and Arizona on the road this year. And everything else is at home. So out of their last 6 games, San Fran at home, Arizona at home, Jets and Patriots at home. So I think it's shaping up very well for them. They have the eye of the tiger. They're locked in. Barring injury, they get Rapp back, Obo back, and it looks like they might have their kicker now. So I'm feeling really good about this team. Goff has got to be feeling it, have confidence, the offensive line, everyone. This is a great feeling. And even if everyone else doesn't see it, we see it. So yeah, that's it. I'm at the end. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. If, like I said, if you are new to the channel and haven't subscribed, please do so. Watch an old video. Find me on Instagram at LA Rams Talk, Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk, on the Fan Network as well. Yeah, I'm just feeling good, and I appreciate all of you. And as always,